Hello everyone. This weekend we're expecting the first substantial snowfall in the state of Indiana. Now we're not expecting a ton, but as we all know in Indiana, that first snowfall, it's like our first time driving in snow. And so John and I decided to get together, come up with a little bit of a message just to remind everybody to think ahead and plan ahead for this weather that's moving in this weekend.
You know, and usually when we see that first snowfall here in Indiana, a lot of cars end up exactly where Mike and I are here, the junkyard. A lot of scrap cars behind us because people made poor decisions while they were driving. But when you put a little bit of snow or ice on the road, the chances of those crashes really go up. And we really do not look forward to those first days of snow or any days of snow for our drivers.
So John, when I'm driving down the road and I start to lose control of my car, what should I do?
Well, first thing is, if you're driving and you start to lose control, try to avoid just mashing on the brakes. Once you mash on the brakes and your tires stop spinning, you'll lose control and you'll start to spin. Try to steer through it. Threshold braking, that means you try to keep your tires spinning while you're braking. And the key is to not be driving so fast that you lose control in the first place. You've got to slow down. A lot of people think that they've got four-wheel drive or all-wheel drive or technology in their car that will allow them to drive quick on the snow roads. It's just not true. You have to slow down.
And something I always think about is people don't always necessarily prepare all the time to go out and drive in the snow. And when I say prepare, they don't fuel their car, they don't prepare their vehicle. Say they do get stuck in the snow, what are some items that maybe they should carry in their vehicle?
Without question, the first thing is a blanket. You know, you never know how long you're going to be stranded, and sometimes these snowstorms, these ice storms hit without notice. And last year we had an ice storm where people were stranded all night in their cars. You run out of gas, you run out of food and water, you're in trouble. So you got to have some water, some food, blankets. Make sure your cell phone's charged. Make sure you've got plenty of gas. A lot of things, but most important thing when you're preparing to drive in this weather is give yourself that extra time. That time is what's going to help you get to where you're going safely, because if you're not in a hurry, you're not going to drive fast.
So are your police cars four-wheel drive?
They are not. Most of our police cars are only two-wheel drive. Our newer ones are all-wheel drive. But no, and again, just because you have four-wheel drive doesn't mean that you can just drive however fast or however you want. It's not only your vehicle, it's the other drivers around you, and it's your driving skill as well.
Have you ever been driving down the road and somebody just blows past you in a four-wheel drive vehicle? I have a four-wheel drive vehicle, but I find it sometimes I'll notice that person that was driving the four-wheel drive is in a ditch somewhere not far ahead. So like John said, just because you're driving a four-wheel drive vehicle does not mean that you're not going to end up in the ditch. Sometimes they are worse, especially on ice when you're trying to control your vehicle.
Yeah. So when these hazardous road conditions hit, remember the first thing is slow down, slow way down. The second is increase your following distance. You need time to react. Just because somebody's driving a little bit slower than you want them to, you shouldn't go up and get as close as you can to them, because they might see a hazard that you don't see, and when they react, by the time you see it, it's going to be too late. So give yourself that reaction time, and just make sure your vehicle is prepared for the weather, and make sure you're prepared to drive in the weather.
Sounds like a good plan. I'm kind of looking forward to a little bit of snow. I always like snow, but I know there are problems that come along with it. So we hope that you have a safe weekend as we continue to move into the time Christmas is coming near, and we want to make sure everybody is happy and healthy when Christmas comes around. So let's slow down and take our time this weekend.
Yeah, drive safely.
Have a good weekend.